Ooh, rumbling, stumbling, and bumbling. Here we are Friday morning on the Kayinthamornin radio broadcast. And this is my favorite time of the week, my favorite time of the morning. It's time for the Wacky Report. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, because there is no dew on the pumpkin this morning, here he is, Wacky Tom Zarnacki. Good morning, Thomas.
Good morning. I'm glad we had a week to relax and let that turkey absorb us. And listen, this weekend, Kay, you bring your A game or you go home.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, playoff weekend around the SEC, the ACC, and a whole bunch of other places. It's going to be a lot of great football to watch this weekend. But talking about us being off, they go to the national championship against who do you think? Who's number 2 now? Wow. Ohio State?
Right now, Ohio State's number 2 in the country. They won just a last-second clincher to Michigan last week. But they got to play Michigan State in the Big Ten championship game, who has the best defense in that league.
Okay.
I'm looking for an upset, Kay.
Ooh, you really?
Michigan State Spartans all sparted up. The last time Ohio State lost was before Osama bin Laden was caught dead.
Wow.
That was like 2 years ago.
Wow.
That's over 680 days, Kay.
I remember back in the year 1996 when it was in New Orleans, and it was the Sugar Bowl, and it was Florida State and Florida. And that afternoon before the Sugar Bowl was the night game, Ohio State, I can't remember who they played, but they were going to be the national champion if they won. This is before the BCS thing, they just like picked a bowl game winner, whoever wound up number 1. And Ohio State went down. And I remember I was there on media business, and everybody came pouring out of the hotel. I mean, it was one of these hotels where it was like a big inside atrium and it goes up 12 floors, and just everybody was out yelling and screaming when Ohio State lost, because that set Florida up for the championship, to which they played Florida State and they absolutely demolished Florida State. There was like 52-7 that night, something like that.
Yeah, and remember, during that year, Florida State beat Florida during that year.
They did, and that's why Florida thought it was all over. They were lucky to even be in the Sugar Bowl.
Yes, absolutely, and you're totally correct. And, Urban Meyer used to be a graduate assistant coach back in 1987. That was the last time he ever lost in Ohio Stadium, as now being the head coach. He's undefeated for 2 years.
Amazing. Okay, so let's say Ohio State wins.
Yeah.
And it's Ohio State and Florida State.
Wow. Who doesn't know Florida State more than any other coach right now?
Yeah, that ought to be one.
That could be a chess match.
That's going to be a ding-dong dandy.
Right? And it's just, wow. Because the last time Florida played Ohio State in the championship game, Florida just demolished them.
If Ohio State goes down, like you predict, and Auburn takes care of their opponent this weekend in the SEC championship game, does that set up Florida State and Auburn?
I have no clue how the schedule, the strength of schedule, and everything else.
Well, it'd be number 1, number 2 at that point.
It would be, and you would think Auburn has 1 loss, so then Ohio State would only have 1 loss. So how do you differentiate the better team?
Ah, okay. All right.
I mean, and then next year you got the 4-game playoffs.
Playoffs? What are you talking about? College football playoffs? Oh.
He'll pick on his own, he'll just lose.
Oh, yeah, you can't. If you pick, you might as well pick your nose out there, Money Mike. Don't do it. You got to listen to Wacky, man.
That's right.
He knows it. He's got the computers, he's got the paper spitting out, he's got the figures, he's got everything going on over there.
That's right.
I just do the quick picks over here.
Just remember.
And right there is a good enough reason to bring in Tim Tebow. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a very good Wacky report because it's not a whole lot of shining brightness in this whole thing. The only bright spot of the whole Wacky report is talking about the Tigers.
The Tigers, go Tigers.
Tigers.
That's the only sure thing.
That's the only sure thing that we got for you here. So you can get it, bet it, and forget it on the Tigers. The rest of them save you money, put your credit cards away, and we'll see you next week.
Go Tigers.